in Seville. Okay, let me jump down real quick. I'm going to go to page 98. Of more interest than the mode of migration is the question whether any analogies in language, in traditions, in religious conceptions, or in religious ceremonies justify the acceptance of this ethnological theory, which it does. As you stick around, we're going to show you the language of the Indians throughout the islands. Roldan's chief argument in support of his view is the language of the Indians in Hispaniola, which is the Dominican Republic, Cuba, Jamaica, and the adjoining islands. He contends that it has many resemblances to Hebrew. It was Hebrew, and we're going to prove it. In fact, he even calls it corrupted Hebrew, because they had picked up other languages from the white men, different words, and inserted it in. He asserts that such names as Cuba and Haiti are Hebrew, and that they were first applied by the earliest caciques, meaning kings, the chiefs or the leaders, who discovered and peopled the island. Okay, the names of rivers and the persons in use among the natives are derived from the Hebrew. I'm going to go to page 99. They also sacrificed first fruits on high mountains and under shady trees. They sacrificed first fruits because that was a high holy day, called first fruits, set up and ordained by the Most High in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. They had temples and carried a holy ark before them in time of war. Just like the Israelites did, because they are the Israelites. They were also, like the 10 tribes, inclined to idol worship. Okay, so this is a book you can go to the library and examine for yourself in the reference libraries. Okay, so now let's go back to the scriptures.
Deuteronomy 33.
Deuteronomy 33
and
verse 8. Right. It says this: And of Levi he said, let thy Thummim and thy Urim be with the Holy One.
Now, when it says, and of Levi he said, let the Thummim and Urim be with thy Holy One, because Levi were the priests of the nation of Israel. Aaron, Moses' brother, and his sons became the high priests of the nation. The high priests who were Eleazar's son, which was Moses' brother, his sons became the successive high priests. So the Levites, certain groups of the Levites, you had high priests, you had priests, and you had certain sections of the Levites. Now the sons of Eleazar were the one that wore the Thummim and the Urim. Now the Thummim and the Urim were like balls that gave up illumination, something like crystal balls. And the Most High would speak to the priests, and he would show them certain events that would take place concerning the nation and concerning the priests. Now, and it says, and of Levi he said, let the Thummim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One, which was his priests. Now the Holy One that's dwelling with our people now is not the righteous spirit of the Most High. What they're dealing with is the witchcraft and with Satan, because like I said, the Haitians were the priests of the nations. And it says, let the Thummim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One, whom thou didst prove at Massa. So who was at Massa with Moses? It was the Levites and the rest of the Israelites that provoked Moses, and the priests that were Moses at Massa, because Moses struck the rock to give them water. And it's going to explain for him, with whom thou didst strive at the waters of Meribah. So this part, when it's about the Thummim and the Urim, is that you know that the priests used the Thummim and Urim, which were like crystal balls that gave off a certain illumination to let the priests know what the Most High was going to relate to his high priest and so forth. And it says, the 9th verse, read on.
Who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brethren.
So this is speaking about Levi. When it came to pass, when it was asked, when Joseph was sold in Egypt, it was asked of Levi, where was his brother? And Levi said, who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brethren. Now when you look at it today, the Haitians today don't acknowledge the so-called black Americans or the West Indians. They merely keep to themselves, amongst themselves. They don't associate. They will speak to you, but the close, as far as dealing association, is merely among their own people. They do not acknowledge their brethren. Continue on.
Right. One more thing, one more aspect to that. When it says, who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him, neither did acknowledge all his brethren, nor knew his own children, for they have observed thy word, goes back to Exodus 32 also, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, okay, and the children of Israel were in all manner of wickedness and fornication. And the Most High said, who is on the Lord's side, let him come here. And the Levites came to Moses. And he said, let every Levite take his sword and slay the wicked of Israel. And it says the Levites didn't care if it was their mother, their father, or their children. They just slaughtered them, put them to death. Okay, so I'm going to read on now in verse 10. They shall teach Jacob thy judgments, and Israel thy law.
Right, so that was the job of the Levites, to teach the law. They were the lawgivers of the law also, to teach Israel the laws of the Most High, and so forth. That was the job of the priest, to do the sacrificing, to burn the incense in the temple, and it goes on and on. That was their job, to do the service of the Most High strictly. Read on.
They shall put incense before thee, and whole burnt sacrifice upon thine altar.
So their job was to burn the incense, right? The incense in the temple, sacrifice the animals for the sins of the people and for themselves, and for the atonement of the sins of the entire nation. Continue, and it says, read on. So we like to go to Malachi.
Right.
Malachi, what chapter?
We're going to go to Malachi chapter 2, and what we're going to read is verses 1, 3, 8, and 9, so we can just get through it briefly. Malachi chapter 2, verse 1. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. Okay, let me jump to verse 3. Behold, I will corrupt your seed, and spread dung upon your faces.
Now this happened to the Levites. When this happened? When we were brought here in slavery, the Haitians. Why? They're no more priests to the Most High, because what are they dealing with now? Witchcraft, evil, all sorts of evil and madness. As an entire nation, I should put it, we're dealing with wickedness and evil. So now, instead of doing righteousness, as doing the burning the incense and the righteous oil of the Most High, we're doing the evil sacrifices. Read on.
Right, let me show them a photo of that from this book here. Okay, it shows them practicing their voodoo and spreading dung upon their faces. So it was pathetic. All right. So let me read on. Even the dung of your solemn feasts, and one shall take you away with it. Okay. So now let's jump down to verses 8 and 9.
And now the solemn feast that they're keeping in Haiti and those islands is Easter and what? Easter and Christmas. Some of them do. If they're in the Roman Catholic Church, they either celebrate all the pagan customs of the Roman Catholic Church. That's the solemn feast that they're keeping.
Right. Verse 8. But ye are departed out of the way.
See? So the whole nation, but this was referring particularly to the Levites, the priests. They have went out of the Most High's way, which is his righteous order. Continue on.
Ye have caused many to stumble at the law. Ye have corrupted the covenant of Levi, saith the Lord of hosts.
And that's what they did. Corrupted the covenant by doing what? Bringing in false sacrifices, by going to pagan customs, by following the ways of the different nations, the Africans. Continue on.
Verse 9. Therefore have I also made you contemptible and base before all the people.
And look at it. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. It's the poorest. And they're living in the most deplorable state. Continue on.
According as ye have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. Right, let me say this about that. When the Mosai said he made Levi contemptible and base before all the people, meaning before all Israel. When you mistakenly if you ask a black guy, are you Haitian? You know how insulted they get. Haitian? Oh, I ain't no Haitian. If you ask any of our people, they get that's like the greatest insult to call them a Haitian, because they've been reduced to being contemptible and base before all the people. Like